Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Vince coming to you from Under Construction. I know it's been a couple weeks since you guys seen our faces, but don't worry, we're still here. We'll still be bringing you content in the future and all, but we just had to go take care of a few things. I'll show you guys everything is okay, but we just had to take a break, that's all. But in about 4 hours, the Charlotte Hornets will be blessing us with their tip-off to the 2019-2020 season. And I know we got a ton of questions that needs to be answered, both good and bad, and tonight would be a good indication of what those answers are going to be. But in our Charlotte Hornets group a couple weeks ago, I asked a few of the members if they had what questions that they have going into the seasons. And I said, I'll choose a few answers and just kind of give my unbiased opinion, okay? All right, so before I get started, I just want to say that if you aren't in our Hornets group, just go ahead and pause this video right now, move over to Facebook. If you aren't watching this video on Facebook, search for the Hornets group, and I'll put the photo on the video. Search for the Hornets group and go ahead and join it. It's a pretty dope group, a lot of good people in there. If you're ever looking to buy or sell some tickets, it's a good place for doing that stuff, all right? So we're going to go ahead and get into it, all right? So the first question comes from Benjamin George, and he asked the question, which younger player, in your opinion, will make the biggest leap forward in their development by the end of the season? And for me, that's an easy question. That's easy. I'm gonna go with Malik Monk. All right. I know he tends to be the lightning rod here in the Charlotte Hornets fan base, but in his 2 seasons here, he hasn't even seen 18 minutes per game. And I think he's only averaged about 8 or 9 points in his best season, statistically speaking, which was last year. Now, a lot of that came because of Kemba Walker and Jeremy Lamb being in the starting rotation. And now with those 2 men out, this is Monk's time to shine. Now, how will he look? I don't know. That remains to be determined. That's yet to be seen. I know he didn't play with the guys in the summer league. He put on some weight. So I don't know. But statistically speaking, I believe that Malik Monk will take the biggest leap forward in this season, okay? So moving on, James Graham asked the question that there's been a lot of talk about Borrego having greater control over the way the team will play. Do you think this is a good thing? Do you think he will be up to the challenge? First off, I always find it a little odd when the narrative is made that the coach has more control of his or her team. As a head coach, I feel like the coach should always have control of the team. But I understand different organizations operate differently. Getting to the question, I will be a little sketched to see how this plays out simply because of last season with James Borrego wanting to play a fast, up-tempo style of play. And then towards the end of the season, that definitely wasn't the case. Even still, with the younger guys coming in after the All-Star break and showing a lot of promise, he still stayed with a lot of the vets. And I don't know if that's where the question comes from. Maybe the Charlotte Brass are saying, hey, look, I know these guys are playing good, but you still need to make it a point to play some of the veterans. I don't know. But going into the season, I think it will be a good thing for one reason that a lot of people hadn't talked about, and that's because there's absolutely zero playoff expectations for this team for the next 2 to 3 seasons. So essentially what that means is as long as Borrego looks to be moving forward, so to speak, as far as the development of some of the young guys, the direction of the team, he can essentially do whatever he wants to until we get rid of these bad contracts and he starts getting some players in that will fit his style of play. So I think this will actually be a good thing for James Borrego. It's just going to suck for the fans because if the team does perform the way everyone thinks it will, Charlotte just going to be Charlotte for the next 2 to 3 years. So just embrace that, okay? So third question comes from Kourt Nicholson, and he asks, who would be the most important player moving forward, regardless of contract? Now, that's an interesting question because if you would have asked me this question before preseason, I would have said Miles Bridges, hands down. He has that unique combination of size, athleticism, grit, determination, anger, ferocity, all of that on the court. After preseason, I have to go with P.J. Washington. Even with him being a rookie, when he was drafted this year, everyone had him going to the G League. I think he was having to deal with some injuries, and we weren't too high up on PJ as a fan base. But after preseason, I think PJ averaged about, I think he only averaged maybe 12, 13 points per game, but he averaged 25 minutes per game this preseason, and nobody saw that coming. Even got a couple of starts out of that. Now, I know Miles and Devontae and Bacon, I think there was a game where they didn't start. So, maybe he just got inserted into the rotation as a result. But still, I don't think you will find a Hornets fan out there will say that they weren't pleased with P.J. Washington during this preseason. Given the fact also that he's a coach's son and his IQ is a lot higher than what you typically would see from a rookie. So I think P.J. Washington would be one of the most important players, if not the most important player, going forward with the Hornets plans. And the last question comes from Roy Bullock, who asks, who will be the go-to player at the end of close games? Who would you want taking a shot? And there's no true leader on this team, at least right now, in my opinion. There's no true player that, in this situation, you would say, hey, that guy has to have the ball. I don't think we have that player just yet. With that being the case, I think the answer has to be Terry Rozier for a couple of reasons. One, he's a point guard. The ball has to be in the point guard's hands at the end of regulation. Unless you're Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan or LeBron James or Kevin Durant, the ball belongs in the point guard's hands to make the play. Also, I think Terry Rozier, and it's not fair to him, but Terry Rozier has a lot to prove this season. He will not be able to prove himself next season or the final season of his contract. Terry Rozier almost has to play, I don't want to say perfectly, but he has to get no worse than a B+ on his grade every night with the way that the fan base responded with Terry Rozier coming in. So I can only imagine a situation if we're down in crunch time and Miles Bridges takes a shot and he misses the shot. And even though no matter whether it was a good shot or not, the response would be, Rozier's the point guard. Why is the ball not in his hands? See, we shouldn't have traded for him. We should have went somewhere else. We overpaid him. So until Rozier, again, at no fault of his own, wins the fan base over, I think at least starting out, I think Rozier has to be that go-to guy late in the crunch, okay? So that's all that I got, guys. Like I said, real short, sweet, and simple. If you're coming out to the game tonight, we'll be at the practice court at halftime, so come holler at your boy. And as always, thanks for watching. Thanks for the continued support, all right?